Hello everyone. So before moving to the user and group management, we first of all talk about the file system. So what is file system? So first of all, imagine a library. The way books are organized on shelves, they labeled and indexed. The file system does similarly for us, but in the digital way for our data. A file system, you can imagine a method or structure, an OS used to store or retrieve or organize or manage files and data on our storage devices. To define file system in a straight short line, so it is the management of data in our system. So speaking of types, there are several file systems out there, but to keep it concise, we will focus on the most common ones. So here is a list of popular file system formats that are used on Windows, Mac and Linux operating systems. So for Windows file system, it basically the supported file systems are FAT, the file allocation table, then the new technology file system, then the extended file system. Then for the Mac OS, it is the hierarchical file system, then Apple file system, and the hierarchical file system plus. And for the Linux, it was extended file system, a different version. These versions are basically the modification of one another. And then XFS file system, and then journaling file system, then build tree file system. So talking about each file system, a short note of each file system. So the FAT file system, the file allocation table file system, it is one of the oldest file system. It was originally designed for the floppy disks, then further it was adapted for the hard disk too, and it is great for the flash drives due to simplicity, but it has some limitation in the file size and disk capacity. So moving to the next file system, that is the new technology file system. It is a modern standard for Windows system. It was commonly used as a file system for the Windows, and it supports the file permissions and encryptions, and it was improved reliability and disk space utilization compared to the FAT. And this FAT, basically the FAT we are using in some of the Windows the is FAT32. It was an extension, it was a modification of FAT16. And then the last one for the Windows is the extended file allocation table. So it is ideal for the flash drives and SD cards, and it overcomes the FAT's limitation like large file size support, and it is like compatible across many devices including cameras and game consoles. So moving to the Mac OS file system, there are three file system it supports. So first one is the hierarchical file system. It was legacy file system for Macintosh computers, and it was first introduced in 1985, and further it was replaced by the hierarchical file system plus, which is the improved version of HFS, and it supports larger files and used Unicode for naming. And it was HFS plus is the default for Mac OS until the introduction of APFS. Okay, the Apple file system. It was a modern file system commonly used for the Mac OS and for other Apple products like iOS and Apple devices. It was optimized for SSDs. Features like encryption, space sharing, and cloning also supported for this file system. Then for the Linux part, so extended file system EXT. So EXT is the first file system that supports the Linux kernel. It was created basically in 1992 approximately, and further modification has been done to the existing file system, and now we are currently using ext4. It was most favorably used file system for Linux, and it's basically shows a series of file system developed for Linux, and ext is the most recent one. Okay, supporting large files and volumes, also includes journaling features. And if you want like journaling, okay, so what is journaling? Journaling is basically tracking your changes. Okay, so uh, just imagine, it's like if you change your data, so it's basically store each changes, and by mistake if you have some uh, if your data corrupt, you don't have to go write it from the from the root. Okay, you can go revert back to the last change, and you can modify to the last change. Okay, so it basically tracks your changes. Then GFS is basically developed by IBM, and it features like metadata journaling, basically for the journaling part, to store the changes too. Then the XFS, it has high performance file system. It scales well with the large data sets. Okay, the main motive behind creating this file system is basically for performance files, high performance and large data sets. Then comes the B-tree file system. It is the modern file system for Linux, and like it supports pooling and snapshot and inbuilt RAID. And going next to it, okay, so this is the timeline, the support of like when it was first introduced. So exa was introduced in 1992, and then ext2 was introduced in 1993. Then in 2001 ext3 series is introduced. Then further now ext4 introduced in 2004, and it was currently in use in most of the Linux. So okay, so this is a kind of chart which shows the difference between different file systems. So it has some maximum file size for each file system, maximum volume size, what is the maximum volume size it is capable of. Then the operating system which supports this kind of file system. So for NTFS, the maximum file size varies, okay, with time. I guess some modification has been done each time, so it shows variation in this file system. And this is the maximum volume it can store, so it is about 56 terabyte to 64 kilobyte, and the picobyte to 2 MB. Then for FAT32 it is 4 GB, the maximum file size, whereas the maximum volume size is around 2 TB, 8 TB and 16 TB. So basically FAT32 is the modification of FAT16. And on parallelly you can see Windows, and this Windows and Mac OS and Linux support this file system. Then XFAT supports like maximum file size is 128 picobyte, which is a very large number. Then it has maximum volume size of about 128 picobyte. Then external 2 3 extended 2 3 4 series, so it had different maximum file sizes, and you can see this time it's upgraded to the modified, like it supposed higher file size, and now it's currently supported file size to 56 picobyte around, and the maximum volume size is like this. It is also around 256 picobyte. So the file system difference between Windows and Linux should look like this. And if you remember, like when Windows, you have something like C drive, D drive, and inside you have folders, text file and images and videos. Whereas in Linux, what you have, you have a hierarchical tree like structure where root directory is at the top of the, like it's a root, okay, and further you have some springs coming out of it, sprouts coming out of the root directory, and there's files like different folders like bin directory, temporary directory, optional directory, and so on. So this is basically a difference between the file system of Windows and Linux. So let's learn about the. So first of all, to go into the root directory, what you have to write, use the cd command and slash. So slash is basically to denote the root directory. So enter. Now ls. So it lists all the directory inside the root directory, and now I'm going to check the current root directory location. So it shows the root inside the root directory. So there are different uh, different folders. We are going to deep dive into each of the folder, what this folder is basically used for. And the most common is basically the home directory. It is the user directory. User most of the time interact with the home directory, okay. So like it is used for the storage for user files, and each user has it's a profile, each user has a subdirectory or profile in home directory. And before that, what you should know is like in Linux everything is a file, okay. In Linux everything is a file. Everything means everything, okay. Remember this, in Linux everything is a file. Whatever the applications, the devices, the binaries, the libraries, everything is a file. So don't confuse with like how we can see what exactly the application. So everything is like a file, okay. You should not be compared like with the Windows. In Windows you have exe files, and here everything you have installed is like a binary, and everything is file, okay. So let's clear the terminal first. ls. So let me show you the. So basically this is the hierarchical structure of Linux, and you can see there's different folders inside the root directory, and the most common one is the home directory. And inside the home directory, user can have the user directories and files, user rated basically. This is the most often used directory by the user. And in the home directory you have basically a directory for each user you have in your system. So let's check uh, let's check home ls. So it has only one user, that is Ubuntu. And now if you want to check the current working directory, that is the home, okay. Going inside Ubuntu, now ls. So here you can see these are the files we have made in the previous sessions, and this is the most often used location, or you can say directory by the user. Now going back to the home directory, let's clear the terminal first. Now ls. So for the next directory, it is the bin directory. So inside the bin directory, okay. So bin directory is like just what the name suggests. It is a binary directory. It contains user executable files. So whatever commands you have seen has some executable files. Let me show you. So ls grep ls. So here you can see even all the commands you have used till now has some executable file inside the binary or somewhere else, okay. And basically it was in binary or the USR user mode, okay. user directory. So it has also like some of the commands which has, let me show you some more. Cat command. So see, cat command has two its executable files inside the binary directory. And so in Linux, every command has binary in either inside the binary directory or the USR directory. Okay, every command, it's not like some kind of application, it is a kind of file. Okay, executable files for each one of them. Each one of the command you have learned till now has executable file in the binary directory. And this, you can see there are too many commands. And let's clear that up. So we can also count the number of files and directories inside executable files and directories inside the bin folder. How we can do that? So we have to use one Linux command, that is wc count. And first of all, let me check what are the flags we can use with the wc command. So it's what it does, it print new line, word and byte counts for each file. Okay, so for that we are going to use this dash l and prints the new line counts. Okay, so let's say ls. Okay, so it's basically not sure it's going to count each word or not. ls wc dash l. Okay, this is the 94054. And what is the output of this? Okay, so let me tell you again what is this w dash w is used for. So dash w is used for the word, print the word count. So like it's not like word like 8 byte and all, and it's just a simple word, continuous kind of string, continuous characters. This is the continuous character. So there's totally about 954 characters, and it was not showing in different lines for each of one of them. But dash l is also counting each command in the next line. Okay, counting for that. So there are totally 954 files, executable files and directories in the bin folder. So let's clear the terminal again. Now going back to the root directory. Okay, one more thing. So when I write cd, it makes me it locate me to the home directory. See, inside my user. So you can, instead of like typing slash, you can also go back to the root directory using double dot slash double dot. Okay, this is forward slash. In some of my previous video I have talked I have told it use the backward slash, but this is the front slash, forward slash basically, and backward slash look like this. So okay, so this is the backward slash and this is the forward slash. Okay, so just to clear that out, now ls, you can see I come into the root directory. I clear the terminal again. Now ls. So our next folder will be the boot directory. So the boot directory, let's get inside the boot directory. So boot directory contains all kind of files and folders that is used during the boot time. Okay, it contains like static bootloader, executable files. Okay, executable files, and then the configuration files required to boot a Linux computer. So this is used for, basically it contains data related to the booting part. And now going back to the ls. Okay, so for the dev part, it's basically this directory contains the device files. Let me clear the terminal first. Now going to the dev part. So this directory contains all the device files for every hardware device that is attached to the system. So these are not like device drivers, rather they are like files that represent each device on the computer and facilitate access to those devices. Like you have a bus, PCI bus, and there's a different hardware devices that is computed to the system, like sound card and memory card, whatever, hard disk and SSD. So for each hardware, for each part, it has some kind of folders, some kind of files. So all kind of files you will get inside the device folder. So this is for the bus and the cores and the CPU, then disk, then use pages is for allocation of higher use pages and all, and then log and all, then v5os and okay. So moving forward to the ls command. So moving forward to the our like next folder, that is the etc file for etc folder. Let's clear the terminal. Now moving inside the etc folder, clear ls. So what is this etc directory is used mainly for? So etc directory contains like the local system configuration files for the host computer. Okay, so whatever the configuration files you want to like, what are the configuration files, whatever the applications, whatever the changes you want to make into your system, you have to change the configuration files. So where would you get that from? So it would be always inside the etc folder. So this is one of the most important folder you will interact with on your daily basis if you want to change something, some configurations and all. So you have to interact with the etc folder, and there are some of the like you are known with. Let me see. Okay, so this is apt, this is for the package management, and this is for the bash rc, then completion part, and then okay, so this is for the grub part. And grub is basically kind of like terminal that's open during the start of your system, during the booting of your system. Then this is for the dhcp, and so it's like your host name. You can see it's like host name. Okay, less host name. Okay, there's only one host name, that is Ubuntu. You can see here. And if you want to know more, let's see what inside the hosts. Okay, so these are the hosts here. Basically, so there is only one host, and the following lines are for the IPv6. So we don't have any IPv6 IP, so it's not applicable. We have only localhost, that is the 127.0.0.1. It is the loopback address. Okay, if you don't know about this loopback address, don't worry, I'm going to cover in the networking Linux networking parts, like what is loopback and what is the interfaces, how you can see this loop like IP and all if config. So, and is there anything more? Okay, so this is for the sudo users and all. Then this system config file, that is the most important file, and time zone, and the system D, one of the most important. Then vim, dfw. Okay, if you want to know more about this like configuration files, you can search individually on the browser. For now, I'm skipping this part, and let's move to the another folder. So we have already talked about the home directory. It is the most common directory with user generally interact with. Okay, and you don't have to like if you write cd, you will automatically redirect it to the home directory inside your like the name of the user. You go inside that folder. So I don't want to go to the home directory, so I'm coming back. Let's clear that up. So library directory. So inside this library directory, we basically have shared libraries that we share. First of all, let me get it outside of it. Okay, so this library directory contains the library files. The basically contains the shared library files that are required to boot the systems, and it also contains shared libraries for the binaries, then system binaries and the binaries inside the USR files. So it has basically the libraries. You can see like for the file libraries and package manager, apt package manager, it has libraries, and then for sudo user, super user, it has library, then systemd, and UFW, and for Python. So it contains all the libraries inside this, all kind of libraries, common libraries, general libraries inside this library directory. So uh, let's clear the terminal first. Okay, so library directory is done. Let's move to another library. So other libraries, okay. So you can see like these are the library folders. So it's similar to this library folder, but it is for different architectures, like for 32 bits and 64 bits. And so I don't think so covering again for these folders it's worth of time. So let's move to our the next folder, that is the media folder. Okay, uh, just skip this folder for now. We will see it at the end of this session. Okay, so the media folder. So talking about the media folder, so media folder is like a place to mount your external removable media devices, such as your USB thumb drives that may be connected to the host. And let's see what is inside this media file folder. Okay, so there's nothing inside this media folder. Why is that? Because I didn't connect, I'm not connecting anything, any kind of USB and any other kind of external device to my system. And if I even if I have connected the devices, it won't show because I'm inside the virtual machine, and virtual machine can't access your it can't access your the external devices basically. So still it won't show anything. It's just so it just remains like empty for now, because we are using the VM. It remains empty forever. Okay, so let's move back to the root directory. Now clear the terminal plus ls. So moving to the next directory, that is the mnt directory. So this directory is basically also for also for the mount point. Okay, so like it is a place temporary mount point for regular file systems, uh, like as in not remover media. Okay, that can be used while the administrator is repairing or working on a file system. So let's check is there something inside this mnt folder or not. So inside this folder too, we don't have anything, don't have any kind of content like files or directories. There's nothing inside this folder too. So what is mount point? Basically like uh, mount point, you can consider it like you have okay, so To interact the system, the kernel with the external device, you have to mount it first. So what is mounting? So mounting is basically like storing the data inside a folder or something inside the kernel, and then kernel access this external file through that mounted place. Okay, it cannot it, it's cannot access the. It was best practice to like first mount it, then do changes to it. It was basically the best practice. And then moving to the next directory, let's clear the terminal first. Now ls. Okay, going back ls. Now what we have the optional directory. So what is this directory is for? So OPT directory, that's the optional directory. Okay, so OPT directory is mainly used for the like optional files such as vendor supplied application programs that should be located here. Okay, like let's see this there is something or not. OPT. Okay, so there's nothing inside this because this is the VM. If you want to let me check inside my desktop, I can show you. Let's clear the terminal first. Okay, cd root ls. Let's check first, check like there's anything inside this. What we have first is media. So okay, so there's only one media, that is sugar. Okay, now going back and to the MNT part. Okay, there's nothing inside the MNT part too because I have not added any kind of USB drive into my system right now. Now checking for the optional part. So there's a container which I have installed in the past time, anytime, like any past time. Okay, so it shows one, that is container file. So it it's like only have some kind of extra files you have uh, downloaded or installed in your system, and it should be located inside this OPT file. Okay, OPT folder. Okay, so let's delete this part. I'm moving back to our VM. Let's go back to the root directory and let's clear the now ls. And what we have, then we have this process directory. Okay, so what this process directory actually do? So in the process directory we have basically we have the all kind of processes. Okay, all kind of processes are like in, I said earlier. Okay, in Linux everything is a file, so even the processes are in file mode. How you can check that? Let's move to the process directory ls. So here you can see everything, every process is like a file to us. Okay, in Linux every process is a file too, and there's a different process, like these are the numbers we are identified, these tasks running, process running, and with some number like unique numbers to them, and there's nothing more like some C groups for that, and CPU info and fs command. Let's see what is this fs command do. So this is a file system, linear file system types. Okay, though, so there's different file system it supports, by the way: dxt2, 1, 3, 4, hpafs, and then iso, then jfs, general, minix. There's so much, and okay, just like okay, yes, I have told you this is the first what you can say, file system made for the Linux. Not for Linux particularly, it was made for the Minix file system, mini Unix, and then it was superseded by the second, then it was third, then fourth. Now it has a set of upgrades to the extended 3, including substantial performance and reliability enhancements. Plus, like, it has some large increase in the volume and file it supports. Okay, and there's this file system structure 2, format 2. You can also look it into them. Now, going back, so these are the processes residing inside the process directory. Now going back to the root directory. Okay, sorry, I'm inside the home directory. To go inside the root directory, you have to write slash, the forward slash. Now clear the terminal first, then ls. Then we will go inside the root directory. Okay, so you can see we don't have permission. So to go inside the root directory, you first of all you should have a root permission or something like administrative permission rights. So for that I'm going into the super user mode. How you can do that? So for that you have to like write sudo for super user, and it's basically used before the commands to run the commands in super user mode. But now I want to go into the super user mode. Then how we can that, instead of writing each time sudo, I want to go into the super user mode. For that we have to write su and then enter. For now, like, it doesn't ask for the password, but for your case it would ask for the password, and it will remains it won't ask password for the next 10 to 15 minutes, I guess. So write your password and then enter it, and here you go. Now if you want to go inside the root directory, it let you enter the root directory. Now it has basically it has only the snap part, and yeah, it has its like snap for the package management now. So you won't need it, you won't need to understand. We are going to cover it in the next upcoming session, like package management now. So going back to the root directory, if you like if you are in this normal user mode and you will write cd, then you will traverse to the home directory inside your user directory. Okay, but when you like write cd command, run cd command, you will still be there in the root directory. Here you can see you are inside this directory. Where is it? Okay, you are inside this root directory. If you are running cd, if you are running cd command in the super user mode, you will be inside the root directory. And if you are running the cd command in the normal user mode, you will reside in you will move to the home directory inside your name directory. Okay, this is a very small thing to know, but let's say you should know. Okay, you should know what it is, why I'm like traversing to the root directory when I write cd, and why I'm traversing to the home directory when I'm right as a normal user mode and there's a super user mode. So only go to the super user mode only when you need it. Like, you have you know what you are doing. Okay, only go to the super user mode when you know what you are doing. Don't just go to the super user mode in order to ignore like writing sudo every time, because sudo asks like you have to go into the super user mode only for a reason. Okay, if you like give some malicious program super user rights, like administrative rights, it will corrupt your system and damage your data. So be sure what you copy and paste the commands from the internet, what commands you have run using sudo command and all. So like I'm getting out, like to get outside of this super user mode, you can either write exit command, or what you can do, you can use another shortcut, that is control D. Here it is automatically writes exit for you. Okay, so let's clear the terminal. Now ls. Okay, we have moved to the root directory. Now let's move to the run directory. So run directory is basically a temporary file system that contains volatile runtime data that shows the system has since it was booted. So files under this run directory, let's see what are they. It must be deleted or removed, like at the start of the boot process. And let's see what are they, like log and mount and all. So network namespace and all. So it was created at the time of the boot system. This is the temporary file system. Okay, so let's clear the terminal again, going back to the root of like. Okay, so now move to the this. Okay, so sbin, so it's a system binary. Okay, you have seen like normal commands inside the binary folder, but for this system commands, system binaries, here are the most useful, like most useful commands you will find here. Let me show you some of them. And okay, so there are dpkg for package manager, then ddisk, and then fsck. This is like, okay, a normal, this is ip. Okay, this is the most common, you can say, command that we will use in the networking part. And there are so many commands, I don't know each one of them. Basically, netprint is the common command which you will use in like WireGuard and all. And yeah, this is for halting any kind of processor. So this is a system binary. It contains important binaries that are pre-installed on the system. So coming to the next root folder. Okay, so snap is basically for the like any kind of, okay, so it's just related to the manager, what kind of snaps you have downloaded till now. It was stored inside this file. So for now, let's say I will show you what is exactly a snap is. Okay, there's some command like say tree command. Okay, I have tree command, I guess. So let me show you one more. Let me delete it first. Sudo apt remove tree. Okay, so I have removed the package for the tree command. So now what we will do, let's see, you don't see any kind of tree command here. Okay, so for that, what you have to do is sudo snap. I'm downloading the snap version of the tree command. Let's say it has or not. Okay, it don't have any kind of tree, it don't have any kind of snap package for the tree. Okay, no problem. We will search for anything else. Let's say snap, let's say snap and ag command, I guess. Okay, so it don't have what, I think I just write some mistake. I have to write ag. Okay, you have to write ag2. Okay, you have to write install. Let's see again. Okay, you can see like it was downloading the snap version of the tree command, but I will recommend you to install the apt version. Like apt is a main package manager inside your Linux kernel, so use that for the package handling, not the snap one. Now here you'll see like there are only 5 of them. Now once it downloads, you will see one more package has been installed. Here you can see like the snap version of tray has been installed in your system inside this snap folder, the snap directory. Okay, let's clear the terminal, going back to the root directory, seeing all the listing all the directories, then moving to the srv. So what is this srv directories used for? So this directory is mainly used for the like services, like source the services and system, like system. Okay, so service directory and contain the server specific or service related files. Let's see what files. And okay, it don't have any kind of files and folders. So it basically contains server specific or like service related files inside this. It is short abbreviated as srv. Okay, so going back now ls again, then what we have next, the system directory. So moving to the system directory. So basically this system directory it is a like virtual file system. Okay, here you will see a virtual file system that contains like a set of virtual files that provide an interface to the Linux kernel. Let's see what we have. So we have different folders here like blog, burst, class, dev, devices, firmware, hypervisor, kernel module, and power. So it creates another file system, virtual file system, that contains a set of virtual files and it provides an interface to the Linux kernel. Okay, so here's the devices and the bus part. Let's see what is inside this devices ls. Okay, so this one device I can come up with. So this is a device that is connected with the PCI bus. So going back to the root directory, clearing the terminal ls. Now for the temporary folder, so tmp, this folder is to store like temporary files inside it. It can be deleted at any time, so it would be a bad decision to store something more important inside this directory. So it stores like files and programs temporary, and like it was used only when like this directory to create log files and keep them for the temporary storage of data or something. So like do not delete files under the temporary directory unless you know exactly what you're doing, and many of these files are critical for presenting like running programs, or removing them may affect like a system crash or something. Okay, let's see what we have inside it. So we have I think something like private key or something for login. So for snap, and this for tmp, and this system related private key. Okay, so like clearing the terminal, going back to the root directory, listing all the temporary directories. Now the user directory. Okay, so user directory, this directory this directory is mainly related to the user, like one of the most important directories due to enormous amount of data it holds. So this directory contains the system wide read-only files. This includes like libraries. Let me show you what you have, like whatever. Okay, so the libraries part, then binaries, then system binaries. Okay, then the header files inside this. Okay, the share libraries with other binaries, and the source file. Okay, so inside this it is also like most important directory, It contains a huge amount of data. And here you can imagine like a root directory, you have this thing kind of things, libraries and bin. And here inside the root directory we have another directory, that is a directory that contains some of the common folders like structures like present in the root inside itself. So it is also, I mean, one of the important directory of the hierarchical structure of the root of the Linux kernel. Okay, so going back to the root directory and now moving to the variable. Okay, so this that okay so this directory is used to store the variables like system generated variable files, which includes like logs and cats and system pool files, and there are so many to it. Let's say I just remember some of them. See, even the system pool, temporary files, then snaps, then the running process and optional files and mail and log files. These are the most important part. We mainly look for this folder. So log is basically used for troubleshooting and all, like you have to look inside the logs what we are, where we are crashing or where it failed to run, then accordingly we will troubleshoot the error. And like yeah, we can troubleshoot the error and the catch and crash and the backups and all. So going back to the root directory. Okay, so I think everything is clear. Only okay, I think so. Okay, only the lost and found directory is left for now. So what is this lost and found directory is used for? So lost and found directory is installed in the like installation of Linux. Okay, it is used for like recovering the files that may be broken due to unexpected shutdown. Let's see what we have inside this lost and found. Okay, so it was like installed during the installation of Linux, so it must need administrative rights. So what you should do, you should go to the super user mode and write for the password. I'm inside the VM, so I don't need to type the password each and every time. So now, like doing the terminal first, ls, and going back to the going inside the lost and found. Let's see. So inside this, there are no folders and files, which means like during the installation of Linux, we don't find any kind of difficulties, any kind of missing packages, any kind of broken packages. So there's no files for that too, which is a good thing. So I think so I'm exiting this super user mode. Now let's see what we have. Okay, we have covered all the folders. Just take a recap of what we have learned till now. So we have this root folder at the top of every folders. It is the main folder that is responsible for everything. Okay, then we have this home directory that is very close to the user. User basically writes most of the time, user alter data or add data inside this home directory. Okay, for then this directory also known as like something user home directories. Okay, then we have user folder. So this is for like you read only user application and support data and binaries. Inside we have binaries, most used commands. And for this we header files, like standards include files for C code, and then one more thing like libraries, like objects, binaries, libraries, and for coding and packages. And this local one, this is for the local software. We have inside this local software we have like bin, binaries, libraries, man command and spin and all. Then we have etc. It is like most important folder, one of the most important folder. It contains the configuration files which we need to kind of alter any kind of system settings and all. And we have the root folder, to access this folder we need some administrative rights. So for that we go into the super user mode and access the root, and inside this we have only the snap folder, and this is the optional folder. So for the like optional folder we have some optional software application inside this, and then for the libraries it's related to the shared libraries that is shared with like there is shared libraries that are related for the used at the booting of the system, and also some shared libraries for the binaries, like binaries here for the system binaries. And then the boot, this folder contains all kind of all kind of files and directories that are used during the booting of the system. Then the system binaries, there you will find the uh, most important commands, executable files and all, and the general Linux commands you will find the directories, executable files inside them this bin folder. Then this is the variable folder. Here you will find like temporary files inside it. This folder is mainly used for the log part. Okay, remember this. So whatever you logs you want to search for troubleshooting and all, to see what how the like actually message goes, so you can see inside this log folder. And for cache and the system pool, then we have the temporary mounting part, where we mount files for temporary file systems. And then for the media, where like we store where like we store media inside what we store, like okay, so we store external devices. Okay, yeah, like a system, we like store external devices as a folder inside this media folder. Then we have the temporary directory. Inside this we store temporary files and folders. So it can be deleted at any time, so it's not good practice to store something inside this folder. But at the same times though at the same time don't delete any kind of folder or file inside the temporary directory, because it can be used for like passwords and all, and you don't want to find any kind of uh, problem while handling some kind of functionality of programs. So you should not alter with this folder. You should not uh, contact this folder, like should not connect with this folder until you know what you are doing. So this is for all today, guys. We have completed the file system of the Linux, and for the next part we are going to cover the user and group management.